Welcome to What in the Actual Mental Health. We need like theme music. But boop would definitely be a good one. We still don't have an opener or a closer, but I did bring some notes on a fascinating, I fucked up topic.
I love that for everyone.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be great. So after our last week's topic, we were talking about the Blue Origin fucking ladies in space bullshit. And I was like, I didn't do research on anybody else that was in that pod outside of those other three fuck monkeys who were not astronauts then or now.
It was so funny is after that, pod that we did last week, there was like an uproar. Like so many people got so mad about it.
You.
And I was like,
people were pissed.
Damn. Yeah. They were like hit me. But I think you were the one that sent me one. It was like two guys on a podcast and they were like, Can you fucking imagine being a fucking astronaut?
Yeah.
And now it's even worse because what you're about to share with me is, didn't you say there were two?
There's two. There
are
actual fucking astronauts on there. And you know what's even crazier is that while they were up there, fucking Katy Perry decided to sing "This Is a Beautiful World" or some bullshit. So can you imagine, like, you're trapped up there for 11 fucking minutes and this bitch is in your face, blah, 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 and then fucking comes down and is like, "I'm an astronaut." And you're like, "But no, I really am." And then no one talked about it.
But also no one even knows you were there.
Exactly. Like there's just three people and nobody's talking about the other three. So I decided to not be like mainstream media and only give you half the fucking story because I bit that bullet and it pisses me off that I fell for it. Because then I'm also part of the problem is that I also didn't say also there's these two girls that were real astronauts and we should talk about them. And then the third one who's like a movie producer or some shit. So, I mean, whatever. She's kind of in the boat with the other three, but I guess we'll keep her. So I'm going to educate some things. But I wrote down some stuff because God knows, because these girls have actually done these ladies have done a lot of things. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to take some notes because I will fuck that up. Okay, so the first one, who was an actual damn astronaut? Aisha Bowie. If I fuck that up, welcome to the party. I do it to everybody. It's nothing personal.
She's the cat, her hind?
Yeah, I'm like Ashwagandha.
Like that says Ashley.
Bowie. Yeah. And you're like, that's not it at all, but it is now.
Not even an A in that girl's name.
Yeah, I know. I even looked on YouTube how to say her name.
And it worked out well for you.
Yeah, and it still didn't get it right.
Plug it into fucking Google and have it
it did. It was all Aisha. And I was like, Aisha. And it's probably still not wrong. It's definitely wrong.
I'm pretty sure just now you said Aisha.
Yeah, I think in my head it looks like Aisha, but when I looked over here at my little note, it's Aisha. Yeah, whatever. Anyways. So she is the founder and CEO of STEM Board, which is a tech company, which is pretty cool. And she is the founder of Lingo, which is an educational tech company.
I've heard of Lingo.
Yeah, so have I. And that's why I was like, God, what the fuck? She is an undergraduate in aerospace engineering, so an actual fucking astronaut. And she has a master's in space systems engineering. So fucking she did the astronaut shit. And she didn't get any credit. Anyway, she's also 2024's Woman of the Year by STEM for her, 2024's Luminary Award, and Black Enterprises Women of Power Summit. She was Essence Magazine's Power 40. I don't know any of that means, but yay. And she mentored a 13-year-old girl who is now an aerospace engineer who works for Blue Origin and did some of the rockety shit on the thing they flew on.
What's Blue Origin?
That's the name of the thing they flew in. Well, it was
the thing that looked like the dick in the air.
Yeah, the dick in the air. The actual
she was
company.
Listen.
Yeah, she's like, we're gonna put a big old shaft.
And then fill it with women.
Yeah, they put a bunch of ladies in there. And one of them's going to fucking sing in your face for 11 minutes for half a fucking mil or quarter of a mil. Okay, so then the other one is not an astronaut. This is Carrie Ann Flynn. She's a film producer. She sits on a ton of boards. Yeah, but she's all about the homeless, art, and women's leadership.
She's about homeless art?
Nope, not the same. Different boards. Homeless, art,
You were like, she's
women's
about homeless
leadership.
art. I was like, homeless art?
I mean, elephants do it. Why can't the homeless? That was very judgmental of you.
No, I just...
So she produced a movie.
The most judgmental human on the planet. But I'm the...
Yeah, you're the dick right now. You're the Blue Origin right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I am the phallic piece flying through the air.
Boosh. Yeah. So she produced a movie called Automatic Hate, which is about family secrets and reconciliation. She also co-produced This Changes Everything, which talks about gender inequality in Hollywood. They're probably going to kill her eventually. She also produced Lily, who is a advocate for fair pay. Her name is Lily Ledbetter. So then the third one, she's pretty cool too. She's an actual fucking astronaut as well. Dicks. Her name is Amanda Nguyen. She is the CEO of RISE, which was founded in 2014. It's a non-governmental civil rights organization. She, what did I put here? I can't even read my own hand.
Let me see.
Nope. You're definitely not going to read it.
Well, I just want to try.
What is that word right there? Yeah, exactly. She drafted these.
Oh, I was like charged. She charged.
She drafted the Sexual Assault Survivors' Right Act, which passed unanimously through U.S. Congress. She's a bioastronaut, and she studied bioastronautic research. So, actual astronaut in her fucking title. Katy Perry.
Astronautic.
Gail? Yeah, whatever. Same thing, but still an actual astronaut. Good assholes. She was nominated for a fucking Nobel Peace Prize in 2019. And she was 2020's Time Woman of the Year. So her story is interesting is that, and this is going to like go down a rabbit hole, so get ready. Yeah.
I do like rabbit holes.
So in 2013, she was going to school at Harvard University and she was raped. She wasn't sure if she wanted to press charges or have it investigated. And so she was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I want to do this. So the officers told her if she didn't report it, the evidence would be destroyed after 6 months, unless she filed an extension, but didn't tell her, A, how to file it, or that filing that extension would probably also feel like, oh, you get to relive this. So she was like, I don't like this. This is some bullshit. So she figured out that lots of states do stupid stuff like this. And that's why she started this draft, so that people would not destroy the evidence after 6 months if you choose not to press charges, because the amount of time typically that victims take to press charges can be years, which is also why it's real dumb that there is a time limit on sexual assault cases, but not murder. You murder somebody and they'll get you whenever the fuck they want. You rape somebody, 10 years in New Mexico, just FYI. So then I looked it up to see where we were at with our shit here in New Mexico. And we do not have a statute of limitation for sexual assault cases if DNA is available for testing, which is good. If there is not DNA, though, which is interesting, their limit is 10 years if the crime was reported within 3 years. So, still a time limit. And so then I was like, I wonder how we're doing with our backlog, because I remembered years ago reading a story about how horrific our backlog was on rape cases and all the things that they put in the kit and they put in the things. And so in 2016, it does get better, everybody, so just settle down. But in 2016, 5,440 total rape kits were sitting in the lab not being tested. 75% of those were cases that happened in Albuquerque. At that time, we were identified as the highest number of untested per capita. Again, we're so good at the bad things. Then that got our shit together, because I'm pretty sure that's probably when I read the article. And then in August of 2024, there are still 396 untested rape kits, with 178 of them being at the lab for over 180 days, which isn't great. So then I just kind of looked to see like statewide, but in 2022, at least 25,000 untested rape kits, but that's only from 30 states and DC. There's other states that didn't partake in the study. I don't know why, but that feels sketchy.
They're all because we also have 30,000.
Yeah, they're like, we have so many and we're just not going to tell anybody. Maryland had the highest kits that were in law enforcement agencies, not in the lab, in agencies, which also is real not great. Real not great. They had 3,599. And then North Carolina had the highest kits that were in crime labs at 9,045. So yeah, not great. Not great, but I'm real sorry to the astronaut ladies whose research I didn't do. But now I have. And now I know there were 2 on there.
So in 2016, I was working.
46. Oh, I thought we were doing your age. Keep going.
You're such a dick. I was like, so in 2016, I was working in Gallup at that time.
I'm trying to imagine you in Gallup, actually. That took me a minute.
Yeah. So, well, because I did travel nursing and did ER travel nursing for most of my ER career.
That's right.
So yeah, it was early 2016. And, there's lots of rape that happens on the reservations.
Yeah.
Like outrageous. And a lot of people don't
And they have less
report
resources.
it. Yeah.
If any.
But a lot of people don't report it. A lot of women don't. And if they do, it's like real frowned upon, you know, just like keep your head down, get your shit done.
Keep it in the family.
Right. And that's what they do. Mm-hmm. So, I had never at that point, it's called a scene kit.
Yeah.
Sexual assault.
Nurse examiners.
Yeah. I was like, but they made me do the exam, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I don't want to fuck this up.
Right.
And they were like, just follow the directions.
Yeah.
Because I was working night shift, and I guess like the nurse at the time wasn't answering her phone or something. I don't know. And so it's like fucking 3 a.m. This poor girl, I'm like terrified. This poor girl's like, I guess like we could, because I was like, listen, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do what I can. But then the charger, whoever it was, the charge nurse at the time, they were mad that I was like telling her that I wasn't.
You were being honest with her.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing because they don't have resources out there.
No.
Gallup, that hospital was definitely the most dangerous hospital I ever worked at. They had us doing some sketchy shit, like so much so that I terminated my contract 3 months early because I was like, I'm gonna lose my fucking job out here. Like, I'm gonna lose my license.
Yeah,
and I worked real hard to get it. So it's like,
so don't want to be a part of
no,
that.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, but that was one of the last straws. There's a couple other things I was like, this is so bad. Yeah. But I just remember like I had never seen it, but it's so cold and sterile, which I understand invasive. It like has to be because
you're collecting evidence.
But it's like you make them like stand on a piece of paper naked and like take all their clothes and take everything
one at a piece at a time. Yeah.
And you have to like bag everything separately and label what time and label everything. It's wild. Yeah. And it's like a 2.5 hour process. Yeah. So like these girls just came from their like horrific experience, and then you're just like, oh, do you think you could like get undressed again and like the fucking hospital lights on a paper? Like you're disgusting. Yeah. You know, like we're trying to.
Yeah, and you can't take a shower. Mm-hmm. Well, and that's because I worked at the Rape Crisis Center in Las Cruces for over a year, and it's like horrendous. And the crappy thing too is like you can't eat anything, you can't drink anything. You like, so for hours. So, and here's the thing is that depending on the hospital that you're at and the city that you are in, it depends on how fast they get to you from the ER to like into the hospital to then get in a hold of somebody who does the sane exams, because that's a very specific nurse typically,
right? Who
has been trained, hopefully, which, but in Gallup, that does not surprise me at all. And then they come in, and in that entire time, there are women that I had met that had been in the hospital for 10 hours and were just getting an exam done. And in that entire time, you cannot eat, you cannot drink anything, you can't go anywhere. They ask you not to go to the fucking bathroom so that you're preserving everything. And then, you strip down. They comb through all of your stuff. They swab every ounce of your body that you can think of. They blue light you. It's horrific. It's so sad. And it's very cold. And also depending on like who, if you are in, which, Albuquerque, Las Cruces, they're pretty good about this and being very present with people while they're getting those exams done. But if you're in smaller communities, you may not have an advocate with you. So it's just you and the nurse in there, and you're uncomfortable and you're being probed and you're being prodded and you're trying to get your job done. So you're not really having like this like conversation or saying anything. Then the cops come in and then they want to ask questions. I mean, it sucks. It's horrible. And then to find out that your stuff is going to get thrown away, or worse than that too, is like, so what I was saying, like the difference between like the evidence being in the lab versus being like in law enforcement is that if that evidence goes to the place where they lock up evidence, basically, where they put like drugs and guns and all the things, right? That's also where they put the boxes of, all the clothes and all the rape kits and everything else. If that happens and it is not in a lab and it gets wet or it catches on fire, which happens more often than you would even imagine, or it gets lost, it gets misnumbered, and because it's not in a lab, it's not as securely watched over, all of that evidence can be disputed. So even if you make it to court, you're fucked. You're super fucked because they're like, oh, well, it was in a warehouse for 6 years and, you know, somebody fucking knocked it over and then everything fell out or the bag got ripped. And if bags get open, they won't use it anymore. It's shit. It's really shitty. But you're right. Like tribal cases are very difficult. They were hard even when I was in Las Cruces. And I can imagine it would be worse here because we have more tribal nations that are close by Albuquerque than you do in Las Cruces. But they have very little resources. They're just not given them. They're not like allocated for them. They don't have them in their budgeting. So they have very little. And so a lot of times you will see that they kind of just makeshift where they'll just like put down paper towels instead of like the actual paper that gets folded up and put into this like very secure envelope. It's fucking gross. It's super gross. And it's sad. And then this is what's shitty too, is that because that kind of stuff happens, the statistics don't get counted. So then the numbers of actual indigenous human beings are not being counted. Like no one even knows. It's fucking shitty. It's horrible. And then they don't get therapy for it because you keep it in the family and you don't fucking say anything. Or it is a family member that hurt you and then you're sure as shit aren't going to say anything. Yeah, it's real sad. It's real gross. So I really am happy that Amanda Nguyen went and like fought for some shit. And then she went to the UN. That's how she ended up with the Nobel Peace Prize or the nomination. I don't know if she won it. I'll have to look. But she got nominated because she then went to the UN and was like, hey, all of you motherfuckers need to get your shit together. And, you know, because, I mean, places like Africa, same thing. They're very much like, depending on which part of Africa you're in, is whether or not your shit's getting counted or even stored is hit or miss. So, yeah, so I'm very proud of her. And I wish we would have known more about that than we did Katy Perry. But whatever. It was part of the problem, and I'm trying to fix it. I fell for it. I fell for the media
You did
bullshit.
fall for
I did.
it. You did, yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
That's how they get you. They give you like just the tip, and they fucking in your face.
The Blue Origin phallic
the
tip.
Blue Origin tip. Boom, right in your eye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. They do that.
Yeah. But that's interesting that they had you do it. And then they were pissed at you for like being honest with her that you're like,
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna do my best.
nice.
And it was like, so then it was like even more like disconnected, right?
yeah.
Because like I was nervous as fuck.
Yeah, and you're like trying to read.
I'm like, and it's like open envelope, take paper out, put paper on the floor, have victim step on the, and I'm like,
Oh, that sucks.
yeah, it was,
that
it was
sucks.
like,
That's sad.
all right, this is for you to step on here.
And then
I
she's
have to
just
do
in
this
there.
first part. Now you do it. Yeah, dude, it was fucking terrible. I was like,
horrible.
yeah, they were like, oh yeah, on night shift, we're the ones that do the same kits. And I was like,
You're like, I don't think.
well, don't you think they should train us
Yeah.
on it at least? Or like, could I fucking look at one?
Right. Could I
first?
just like start with something and
I'd
then
never even seen one. I mean, I had, because I knew I'd heard of it, but in the ERs, the hospitals that I worked in, that was the first rape case I'd ever gotten.
Yeah.
And so, and I was, again, this was in 2016. This was 9 years ago. And I'd only been a nurse for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
And they
that's
don't,
crazy.
That's not the shit
But
they
you
teach
would
you in
think that
nursing
would,
school.
right? I was going to say you would think that would be something in nursing school that you would be taught, which is kind of sad too. That's
Absolutely not.
getting taught.
No, and I didn't even go to school in Mexico. I went to school in Florida.
That's sad. Oh, that makes me sad.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know what sane meant.
Yeah, that's sad.
And they're like, oh yeah, we got to call a sane nurse. And I'm like, though.
A who? Like, is she cuckoo? Like, is there an insane nurse? Can I apply for that?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't know if it wasn't. I worked in it, so. And thank God it was an adult, because the kid ones are worse.
Yeah. There's zero fucking chance I would have done that on a kid.
Yeah, that's a whole nother bag.
No.
Because I've had to be part of that too, and that's a whole nother. That's another-
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, no, it was not. Yeah, that'll be burned in there forever. Yeah, so. But
Yeah, the kid stuff's the worst.
Yeah, no, it's real sad. Real sad.
So I don't even think I told you this. I'm going to read the thing that I was accepted into
Oh,
because it ties into this. It's about domestic violence. And it's called Unchained Valkyries.
Okay.
So it's like, let me see if I can get the like description or whatever it is. Wait for it.
Building up the suspense.
I know. I'm going to try and pitch it, and then I'm going to see if I can find like the actual profile here. But basically, it's a group of women that put together a like a calendar every year, and you have to apply to get in. Okay. And they get a pretty big like response, and they take like the top 12 women from all the responses, and they raise funds for Albuquerque Sane. Nice. And the whole premise is like you can only be in like the calendar if you've had some type of domestic violence or like abuse or something, right? Mm-hmm. So like mentally,
within yourself?
Yeah. Okay. Mentally, verbally, physically, emotionally, whatever, right? And so it's a community organization, and they accepted me for their 26, 27 like calendar year.
Okay.
So it's all about like sexual assault, sexual awareness, domestic violence, that kind of stuff. And they do like a calendar, and the majority of the women are like tattooed or like crazy hair. And they do, and you can do like lingerie, or you can do like a sexier outfit or something. But the whole point is having like body positivity in spite of, you know, and like being comfortable in your body and like advocating for that. But nice. They do, sales and promotions, and they do fundraising and stuff for Albuquerque Sane. Oh, so I applied for it. Yeah, I applied for it. Somebody sent it to me, and they're like, hey, you should look into this. Like, I don't know, like 6 months ago. I totally forgot that I even like applied for it, like, or even put like, yeah. And then so when I got like the text message that was like, hey, you were accepted, we can't wait, like we have our first meeting on the 27th, which is why I was like, I have a meeting and I can't come.
Okay. I wondered when you told me, I'm like, the fuck is she doing on a Sunday?
Yeah. Too much to text. But yeah, so they picked 12 new women, and I guess they've been doing it for quite some time. But I got like the acceptance thing like the day before we launched our Edgewood location. So Mike and I are out in Edgewood, and we're like, you know, slicking the floor with like we're covering it with the stuff, and it's just like two of us, and I'm like, oh dang, I got accepted for this thing. And he's like, well, if you got accepted, doesn't that mean you have to apply for it? And I was like, I guess I did. Like I completely just like totally forgot, because they were like, tell us like why you would want to do this, because you know Mike and I are big advocates for the community and all that. Yeah. But I did talk to Mike, and he was like, I was like, can we put them the Albuquerque Scene for a nonprofit for the food fights for next season? And he was like, duh.
Yeah, I have a good friend that works there. If you
do
need,
you?
Yeah, if you
Sweet.
need contact.
Well, these girls I think are like in contact with them. Yeah, because they have like a board for. Cool. It's like. Some of them are like on the board for the nonprofit and stuff, but yeah, so they're really intertwined with that. So yeah, we have our first meeting on the 27th.
Exciting.
I know. So you're going to see me in my whatever kind of outfit I choose to wear with my wild and crazy hair. Because remember, I'm mentally unstable.
Yeah, with that hair, 100%.
Just the hair.
Yeah, that's the only. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to show my tattooed skin and legs, so we'll see.
Will we get to see your hobbit feet?
Yes. I'm going to ask that they zoom in on them.
Could you? Yeah. Could you have a whole page of just your
feet? I have cute feet. Yeah, I hate your face. It's just the worst. Whatever. I
never said I didn't like your feet.
You call them hobbit feet. You like
lots of people like hobbits.
Okay. Do you like hobbits?
I don't have anything against hobbits. They're very similar though to midgets, and we know where that's going to go.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Similar though, but not the same.
So anyway, I'm going to be in a calendar next year.
No, that's super exciting.
Yeah, I'm very cool. I'm interested to see. I can't wait for the backlash about how a medical provider is gonna show my body. But I'm not out there like showing my butthole or anything.
Well, even if you were, it's your butthole.
Whatever.
Get that brown eye
if I
out
want
there.
People to see it, then
or bleach
people
it
can
and
see
then
it.
Get that white eye out there.
Right. Exactly that.
Whatever.
White eye.
Whatever.
Gross.
But I mean, it's your body. You know, like you do.
Well, that's one of the premise like behind it is like body positivity and like feeling comfortable in your skin, and then like showing your unique skin, because everybody so far that I've seen, everyone has like tattoos, and like a lot of people have. Well, my tattoos, a lot of them are like really meaningful to me,
Yeah.
obviously. So like showing your, like your personality, like on your body.
Yeah. That's
like
interesting. That's super cool. That's exciting.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I'm excited about that, but it's funny that you like brought that up because that ties right into that. And I like didn't
Which
even.
is super cool. Yeah. And it's cool that you're doing that for them. That's nice. I like that. That's a good story.
Yeah. I saw like on their Instagram, like in this is 24. So 23, they raised like $7,700 or something for SANE. And I was like, oh, we could totally like double that if we did that if we did like the food fights for one of them. And then
that's super cool.
Yeah.
That's
so
exciting.
they don't know yet. I'm going to tell them when we all meet that I want to like nominate. I'm going to have them for one of the nonprofits. So
that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Put them with Waves and we'll be the
cool.
person that sponsors
Okay.
them.
Ooh, I'll tell them.
Yeah.
Be like, I already got a sponsor.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah,
Cool.
Because that would be that's close to my heart too. Because like I said, I worked in that for a couple of years, and that's like very near and dear. And I spent a lot of time, even volunteering before I worked for the same, for all the sexual assault stuff. And it was it sucked the life out of me, but it was worth it.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. That's rough, dude.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was and it was interesting is that it's Las Cruces. So here's what's really sad too is that people would typically come from either over the border or even from El Paso into right on the border of New Mexico and Texas is like Anthony and Chaparral, New Mexico. And then there's like an Anthony, Texas. And there used to be this restaurant where you could eat on either side, which was kind of cool. I don't know if it's still there. But people would come just right over the edge so that they could report their rapes so that it would be on the New Mexico side. Because and I don't know what it is now, but back then it was worse to report in Texas than it was in New Mexico.
Huh. Well, I'm sure that's shifted now.
Yeah,
We're the
I'm
worst
sure.
for
Yeah,
everything.
we're dead last in all the fucking good stuff and first in all the shit.
Right.
And leaving babies in trash cans. Fucking great. But yeah, I definitely know that I hope I hope we continue to get better, but I don't. And like I said, I didn't work here in Albuquerque, so I don't know what it's like here. I just know what it was like there, and it was rough. It was not an easy task.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the means. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So it's cool that you're going to raise money. That's good.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
That's cool. I've never done anything like that before, and like I have taken, and I don't think I'll be pushing it quite this far, but like I've taken boudoir shoots.
Yeah.
Like I did that for Mike for our wedding, like for our gift, and he like loved it, and I felt like so confident when I was doing it, and it obviously had to do with like the photographer who was taking the photos too.
Yeah, of course.
A really good friend of mine, and she's fucking phenomenal at what she does. But also she was like just like building me up the whole time.
Yeah.
And so it made me feel very like
Well,
confident.
because that's what people don't realize. Like when you're in a domestic violence relationship and when you've been sexually assaulted, like how much it steals from you.
Yeah.
I mean, like your identity, who you are, your safety, your own body. Like everything feels foreign. Everything feels horrendous, So to feel beautiful in that moment would be exponentially.
Yeah, it was definitely like liberating. And the difference even between, so I've never been like sexually assaulted, but I have been all the other assaulteds.
Yeah. You're like, I got all the other ones.
Yeah, all the other ones checked off. And it's interesting too that I say that. So I was in a domestic violence like recovery group, and I probably go back and forth, and I guarantee that if we like opened this up to the public and like got some people's input, they probably would say yes. But oftentimes when you tell your husband no and he like forces you to do it anyway,
right,
that's like a form of rape.
Yeah.
So if you like,
but only became that very recently,
right,
as a form of rape.
Right. Yeah. That's
and
rape.
In some states, I don't know that that's still not allowed. I think there's a couple of states that haven't jumped on that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think had jumped on it when I was, this is 12, 13 years ago.
So you're like 42.
I was 42, 13 years ago, bitch. But I didn't know. So I like a little backstory. My dad was a pastor. I married a guy that we were dating for a little while, and I saw all the red flags, but I
like to collect red flags.
I do. I'm a fucking
You're
red
like,
flag
get all,
collector.
that's my favorite color.
100%. I like to fucking,
woo.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like all of them to flap at the same
You're like,
time.
put them all on the back of the car. It's going to be great
right,
when
exactly.
the wind hits.
Yeah, exactly. It's very colorful. But I well, this ties into like a ton of things, but basically I was living with a man in sin and I felt like pressured to marry him. And he, I think similarly felt like, okay, we're living together, we should get married, even though he had
Pressure
like
by like your families?
I mean, my dad had mentioned something like to him. I don't think my dad ever pressured him, but my dad was definitely like, you're living with my daughter. What the fuck are you doing with her kind of thing?
Yeah.
But like, he never spoke like that. But I mean, but he was like, what's your intention? Are you just going to like sit with your finger up your ass or are you going to get the show on the road? Lovingly. And,
With grace.
right. And the guy that I was with was like, yeah, I'm going to marry her. And asked, basically got my dad's permission, but I was very good at keeping everything hidden. And so was he, because he was, a felon and a wild alcoholic, and he was cheating on me and all that, even before we got married.
Sounds, yeah.
Yeah. But
lots
like,
of red flags.
Some of those things I didn't know. Like, I didn't know he was cheating on me. I found out 3 weeks after we got married that he'd been cheating on me for months leading up to it. And then I found out, I knew he was a drinker. But the red flags, interestingly enough, they were like orange flags.
Like they were like a light hue of pink.
Yeah, there was definitely some flags, but I was very young, naive, and like it wasn't really, I was like, oh, it's fine. He just likes to drink. And my dad was a felon. He got busted for drugs, went to prison when I was 12, but then got out and like totally changed his life. So I just was like, oh, felons are fine. And while that can be true,
Yeah.
in this case, there should have been like a lot more work, because anyway, so I love me a felon, and he was fucking drinking. And then I found like he was selling drugs again and doing all this stuff, but I didn't catch all of that until after we were married. And I felt like I had to stay because in my, religion, divorce is frowned upon and blah, blah, blah. And my dad's a pastor, and my dad married us, like performed the wedding. So I was like, and my dad never once like made me feel like that, but I think I just like took that on. But I also kept my ex-husband at the time, or my husband at the time, very safe. Like no one knew what a fucking douchebag he was. And my mom and I used to go, like shopping, and we would go, have like a girls' day or whatever. And the guys would be at home, like watching football and doing man things or whatever. And I stopped changing in the dressing room with my mom. And she later told me that she had picked up on that and like didn't know how to bring it up without me being offended. Cause she was like, I didn't want to say anything if on the off chance I was wrong. She's like, I didn't want to like push you away, but she was like, I tried to keep as close of an eye on you as I could.
I wonder what that filter would be like, because I don't have that filter.
You don't have
like,
that
oh my
filter.
God, what's happening? Are you being abused? Are you dying? What's happening?
Yeah. And then I'd be like, no, I'm just on my period. And you would be like, that's fine too.
You're like, that's good,
You can
supporting
have
that
your
as well.
space.
But
Yep.
also, if
Great.
he's beating you, let me know what day.
And it's funny because I have tons of friends that were like that, like Arian, obviously, and like some other friends, my parents, right? But I was just really good at keeping all of that a secret. So then, it comes out in this like wild, crazy, like he's like chasing me around the house with a gun, and like it was just a whole thing. And we had a roommate at the time, and it was just like it was a lot.
Yeah.
And then he disappears, and then I had to get a restraining order and all this stuff. And when I bring all this in, when I went to like a support group, I was very quiet, and I didn't say shit for like fucking probably 4 weeks. Like I just sat there and listened, and they're like, it's fine. If you're here, you're here,
Right.
And then they definitely somebody said, no is no, even in a marriage. And like, if your husband is forcing you, that is rape. And I was like, thank God. Like, I was like, that's the first thing I said. And everybody like looked at me like, she does have words. But it was very like, it kind of like, I don't know. It never even occurred to me like that I could say no to my husband.
Yeah.
Or that it's okay if I did say no. Because I was saying no, and then he was like, well, if you're not going to fuck me, that's why I'm fucking other chicks, basically. And I was like, cool, that makes me want to fuck you even
make that
more.
In a fucking card.
They should.
Yeah,
and it
you
should
just
be.
like open it, and it's like some other woman and your husband in the middle.
Oh yeah, like he was disgusting too. Like I caught videos of him like with his videos of them on his phone, like that he kept, like dude, but like so many things. And that was even before the explosion where, you know, he ended up, it was like 3 a.m. and it was just like this very dramatic. Like I've had too much drama in my life. Right. And so he, for a long time, I like didn't, I don't know. It was very like disassociated from the sexy part of sex, or like even enjoying like what I looked like in the mirror or anything.
Yeah.
And that can be dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
If you then flip to the other side where all you want to do is show your body.
Right.
Because,
Yeah.
and
Right.
sometimes that does happen with like rape victims too,
Right.
is.
Do you feel like that's all you're worth?
Right. Is in an attempt to like find the.
Or let me get there before somebody takes it from me.
Right. Right. Like
Yeah.
if I just always give it, no one can
Right.
take it.
Right.
Or like if you want to see like, you know, whatever you want to see, take it from me kind of thing, because then at least I'm in control.
Right.
Which I didn't get quite that far, but it can be like a really dangerous gateway where you're trying to find the, I don't know, not even like a happy medium. You're just trying to figure it the fuck out. You know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
And like, I had been like beaten and like thrown against the wall and down the stairs and up against the stairs. I had my tooth cracked and my cartilage in my like chest popped, and I had like a bruised rib, and like multiple times just like road rash and stuff. Like there's just like so much that I, like when I was filling out that application, was like, oh yeah, I meet all this criteria. Like
You're all click. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's like a really cool opportunity. Now I feel, I mean, I'm not like, no one's ever like 100% healed,
Right.
but I
you
feel
feel
much
good.
more healed and comfortable talking about that and being able to advocate for myself and my body. Like I dress very differently than I did 3 years ago. But that is also because I am confident, much more confident. And I have a loving partner who
Right.
fucking
Is very
dotes on me,
supportive.
gloats. Like everything I do is beautiful. I fucking shit glitter. I can do no wrong, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that takes like a huge,
Oh yeah.
that plays a huge role in that.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, like with the pictures and people like building you up, when you feel like you're gross or like you're not pretty, or like when you feel shame about something
Right.
and someone is like, that's actually beautiful. And
Right.
then you turn around and you see, and it actually is beautiful. You're like, oh damn.
You're like, oh, look at me.
Like, oh shit, I
Yeah.
posted it for the world to see, but not really because you can see my nipples. But those are the
to
secret
pay
at
extra for
home
that one.
ones. Yeah, yeah. But like, you know, there were some other like a really like pretty dress, and my hair is like bright and vibrant, and I feel like you can see the confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and it's, you know, a lot of, especially younger women, when they get raped or they get attacked, they very much will dress like in clothes that are bigger than them, or they will put on a lot of weight as like a defense mechanism, right? It's like, if I make myself unattractive to you, you will not do this to me. And it was interesting because one of my favorite shows is Law and Order SVU. I love me some Mariska Hargitay. Call me. She's like my favorite. And it was
Call me, she says. Like, but she's not.
yeah, she's gonna be like,
you.
"Hey, Rebecca, what's
Yeah,
up?
she's heard enough
Dun,
of
dun,
the
dun.
podcast.
Do you want to be on?"
It's a ding, ding.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Ooh, I'll be right there." And quiz me. I know all your episodes.
Shocker.
Love me some Stabler also. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I know.
Love me some Elliot. So I definitely, they had this one episode not too long ago, it was pretty recent, where this woman was raped, and she was like a middle-aged, heavier, you know, she was a little heavier in the show or whatever. And she even says, she's like, I don't understand. Like, I'm heavy, like I'm unattractive, I'm like a mom. And it was, you know, it's interesting because the amount of times that I've heard women say that, or they're like, I wasn't even wearing like a short skirt, or I wasn't dressed seductively, like I don't understand. And it's like, oh, you know, like it sucks that that's kind of that automatic go-to, that like I didn't dress a certain way or do a certain thing. And so then there's like the flip side of that, where then you do start dressing either very differently provocatively or very differently very covered. And either way, it's not really the skin you want to be wearing, right? Because you're not comfortable, and what was yours was taken. And I think that's what's really hard for people to understand when they've never been raped, is, or even in a domestic violence relationship. It's like what you thought of yourself is no longer in existence.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and especially for me, it felt like, because I was educated and because I worked in law enforcement, if anybody should have fucking known better, I felt like it was me. And I had people ask me that. They're like, well, of all people, shouldn't you have known? And it's like, I'm going to need you to eat dick is what I'm going to need you to do. Because yes, and you're also a human being who, you know, falls for people's bullshit sometimes when you care about somebody, and it sucks you in, and then you're fucked. And I think, you know, part of it is too, is that if at any time you have a parent who can be judgmental or critical of you and your feelings, you start to second guess those feelings. So when you have like a red flag about somebody, you're like, oh, I don't think I can trust that because I've been taught that I'm not right, that I'm inaccurate, and that my feelings either don't matter or they're wrong. And I think that really fucks with things too, because and that's what a lot of women say. They're like, I fucking knew. I knew this was going to go bad. I knew this was a bad idea. I knew I shouldn't have gone. I knew I shouldn't have talked to him. And I still did. And it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. It's still not your fault. But the thing about like the marriage stuff, and that one's pretty common too, is even women that aren't necessarily raped by their husband, but that are having sex when they don't want to. And it's like, you know, you can say no.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to just be like, no, that window is not open right now. Please fuck right off, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I do hear a lot of women talk about that, and that they have a lot of guilt, or, you know, where they just feel bad, or they feel like they're not being a good wife, you know, and it's like, oh, that sucks. And I'm like, and that can't, I mean, I can't imagine that you're like, this feels amazing, because I definitely don't want to do it, you know. And I've been in those situations where I've been in relationships where I'm like, nothing about this feels enjoyable, like whether it's sex or just being in the relationship. And knowing what I know now, and being in a very healthy relationship with somebody who loves me very much, you're kind of like, you kind of look back and you're like, the fuck? That was dumb.
I know. I like think about that kind of stuff, like, and I'm like, ugh, it's so like, it's so yuck, you know?
Yeah. You're like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah. And it's funny because kind of like my whole life up until I met Mike, right? It kind of ebbs and flows. You get into a relationship with someone and you have a lot of sex in the beginning, or some people do, not everybody does. Generally speaking, you have like your honeymoon phase. It's like 3 to 6 months, and like you can't get enough of each other. You're all over each other. You have sex, da 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 da. And I don't ever remember past the honeymoon phase, and even in the honeymoon phase, I never felt like sexually charged. I felt like I enjoyed the attention more than like I want to engage in this, or like I want to like give you my body kind of thing. It was really never like that. It has never been like that in any relationship, in any interaction, that I was like, oh God, I can't wait for you to see me naked, you know?
Yeah.
And it's very different now, having, like you said, the acceptance and feeling loved and like safe and protected changes everything. Changes your confidence. It changes like the enjoyment of sex. It changes even the word intimacy, in my opinion. Like, you know, because we don't, like, you don't have to have sex to be intimate. Like you can just be like close and like, you know, touching, like skin to skin, or little cuddling, otters. Or like little otters, or just like, you know, just feeling safe, that you can just kind of like recharge, I think is something that you like, people take for granted.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think, and you know, what's interesting is that one of my kid clients the other day, they were talking to me about, right now they're learning in a health class about giving birth. And all they're showing them is just like the real raunchy, like 2-day video of this woman giving birth, and then like a C-section video. And so then I asked her, I was like, so like, are they like teaching you also about like sex, you know? And she's like, well, kind of, you know, and she's telling me, and I'm like, oh man, this is like bringing back like the flashbacks of bullshit, right? And so I asked her, I was like, do you know what the word intimacy even means? And she just blink, you know, and I think she's like 15 or 16. So she's like old enough that you would hope that she would at least just know what the word means, even if it's not applicable to her because she's not sexually active. But like, you don't have to be sexually active to be intimate, right? Like, do you just like enjoy your partner's space? Do you like rub each other's backs? Do you feed each other? Whatever the fuck that looks like, you know? And she didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. And I was like, okay, we're not gonna, you know, like I just told her, I was like, that's your homework. Just learn some shit. Learn some shit I'm not going to teach you here, but I don't have time for that today. I'm trying to fix your mental health, but learn some shit. You know,
learn some shit.
Yeah.
But it's you a shirt. Learn some shit. And then on the back, I'm trying to fix your mental health.
Exactly. That'd be great. I would wear that with pride. But yeah, but it's like interesting because I'm like, oh, the fucking, you know, and then I remember, you know, like our sex ed where and it was funny because she said even even to this day, they split the boys and the girls up. The boys go do their thing and the girls do their. And she's like, I think it's just because the boys are like immature. And I'm like, it's always been that way, where they kept us separate, where it's like, you're going to learn about the vagina, ladies, not what feels good, just like what goes in it and comes out of it. And then boys, you're going to learn about the vagina, that you could put something in it, and then you're all going to go home. And that's it. and fucking stories has ended. And it's like, maybe there's like a better, better way. And then it makes me laugh too, because I know why they're showing him the birthing video is because they're still convinced that you won't have sex if you see that. And I'm like, yeah, because 2 teenagers hopped up on fucking hormones, rubbing on each other. They're like, remember that birthing video? Oh my God, we should totally not touch each other's privates. No fucks. Lots of fucks are going to happen, but none are given about the video. Yeah. So it's interesting because it's like clearly in 100 years, nothing has changed, even what they're teaching kids. And I'm not saying like you need to be in school and like teach kids lube and all this other fucking shit. I mean, there's boundaries in like what should be taught in the home versus what should be taught in school. But I mean, be fucking realistic about like what the body does and doesn't do,
Yeah, and should and shouldn't do.
Right. And I do think in a respectful way, you can teach kids what it is to have a safe relationship.
Right.
So that they're not, because especially now they have such access to so much shit and they fuck with each other constantly on social media. So why wouldn't you want to take the time to teach kids that kindness can even be intimate, that just saying nice things can feel good, like that kind of shit. I'm like, you don't have to make it like, you don't have to go over the line of what should be taught at home versus at school, but you could still fucking teach some things. And that's what we're doing. Not here. Dumb. I hate it.
Yeah.
On that.
I don't even know where to go with this. It just feels funny.
That's what I said.
I don't know. Yeah. She was like, that's not good.
She was like, that's not where that goes. That feels funny.
Yeah, it feels funny. Don't put that there.
No. But yeah, so now we know. Now we know all the things. I don't know shit. I don't know anything. Well, we do now. It just took 100 years for us to figure it out. But I think that's part of it. And this is
but we know the things and we're still avoiding them.
Yeah, we do. But what's interesting is that one of the things that I was having this conversation with Angelo the other day is that I feel bad sometimes because like the amount of patience that he has to have for things that were created before him that are not his to fix. They are not his to, manage. They're not even his to carry, but he gets to because he married me and he loves me and he does. And the amount of patience that man has for me is fucking phenomenally exponential. Like, I don't even know who has that in them but him because it's so kind. But it's like interesting, like we forget sometimes too, is like the shit we bring into our relationships that is other chaos and other things.
Oh, I definitely don't forget that.
Yeah. I do for a second, then I do something dumb and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. That's not you.
That's not you. That's all the insides.
20 years ago. Fuck me. So sorry.
I definitely don't. I'm pretty like if I do something stupid, I'm like, yep, that's sorry you have to deal with it, but it's real. I'm not saying it. That doesn't, that isn't a thing, but it's absolutely my fault.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, we were doing this. He was like reading these questions that he had seen on Instagram, I think. And it was like,
we love the questions.
I know they were fun. It was super fun. But one of the questions was like, if there was anything, I'm trying to think how it was worded. Like basically if there was anything he doesn't see it my way, what would I like be able to show? Like what I wish he could see. And I was
Can you try that again? No. I don't know what the fuck you just said.
No, it's like if I could show you any part of my life that you just don't seem to understand, like what would I show you? And I said like my childhood, because his childhood and my childhood were so fucking different. Like he had 2 parents, like he had siblings, like they literally could not be more fucking different.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, I wish you could just for a second, like see what my childhood was like, because I really feel like it would be helpful sometimes to understand like, oh, that's where that comes from. Yeah. That's where that bullshit stems. Because it's, because sometimes like, and because and that's what I told him, I said, the hardest part is that I had spent, before I met him, I had spent 40 years almost. I'd spent 39 years taking care of myself. And I've had him for 4. And I still have a hard time. Like there's times where I'm like, oh, I'm going to do it all by myself. And I got this, as I'm like dragging like the entire couch. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's stupid shit like that, where it's not him. It's just like relearning how to like trust yourself and trust the person that this person actually loves and wants to take care of you, which is, 39 years of a habit to break.
That part is really very difficult is like, Just like when you've been like burned so much
Right.
and then you like try to let some dude take care of you and you're like, I'm just waiting for you to fuck it up.
Yeah. I'm waiting for this to go to shit.
Exactly. Like,
And you're like, hold your breath. Like one thing changes and you're like, is today the day?
yeah.
You're breathing differently.
You're breathing. You took 3 breaths instead of 2.
Yes. And you're just like watching.
Yeah.
Waiting.
And you're like, oh, well, I
Well,
guess
we're getting
I'm gonna
divorced
pack my
today.
shit
Yeah.
now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's rough.
That's so
yeah.
funny.
Healing is fun. It's highly recommended. No, I do. It's important though. You know, it's a learning process, and it it never seems to fucking stop, which is also fun, also enjoyable.
We are lifelong learners, you and I.
Yeah, we are, which is good though, because I think anything other than that, you're just a puddle,
Yes.
just collecting mosquitoes. You know,
Yeah. 100%.
and I don't want to do that. That's
Yeah.
gross. Speaking of learning, you ready for your animal fact of the day?
Oh, I cannot fucking wait for my animal fact.
This
of the
one's
day.
probably my favorite because it's about a platypus, and I am a platypus. And here's how you will know. So, a baby platypus is called a puggle.
A puggle?
Puggle. And a group of platypi, well, actually, it's not platypi, it's platypuses. But I refuse to say that because I'm sure it's just some pervy fucking
You legit
scientist.
just said pusses.
It's so gross.
Like your face was like,
Yeah, because I imagine like some creepy scientist who's like, platypuses, and like just jerking off to like platypi pictures. So it freaks me out and I don't like it. So I will be referring
well,
to
that's
them.
fucking burnt now. That's burnt right the fuck in there.
You're welcome.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Now you know why I don't like it.
Well, I don't
Because
like
it's also
you
burned
for
in
that.
here. So I call them platypi because that sounds way better than platypuses. Jerky. And so a group of platypi are called a pandemonium, which is so cute because they're not even like pandemonium like.
Well, you are not a platypus.
Oh, it's true. I am though. And so then
You are a pandemonium.
100%.
You're just like a whole group of
I know,
platypi.
just running around, but not really running because they don't run like
You
I
don't
don't
run
either.
either.
Yeah, so they just wiggle, which is great.
Mike calls it scooting.
Yeah, they're kind of scooters.
Yeah, Mike says he doesn't run, he scoots.
Yeah, he
so
does.
I'd imagine you scoot as well.
And they lay eggs, but they're a mammal, which is fascinating. They also glow under UV light. They're like luminescent. They have like the bill of a duck. And so when they're swimming so that they can see, they put out like electrodes, just like that, so that they can like fish and get all the things. And then when they're little, you can pet their belly. But when they get older, the boy platypi, they have like a venomous little thorn thingy. And if you hit it, it could it's excruciatingly painful for humans. But only the boys. The girls don't have it. But you're going to have to like search it for yourself. But if you hear when you pet them, oh my God, they get so excited and they make the cutest fucking noise. They're just like, like they're just so happy. Yeah, it's just like that, but cuter. Yeah. So there's your shit about platypi. Platypi, not the other one. Don't make it weird. Did it for you.
I was like, you're telling everyone else not to make it weird after you fucking legit just said,
But like, look it up the way they make the noise because it's super cute and it'll bring you joy.
I think I might do it right now.
It's the cutest
Just to see
fucking
what it
thing.
looks
Because when they're little, you can pet their bellies. But when they get older, don't do it. Because they'll get you. But they're very, very cute. They're pandemonium.
What do I Google?
Google platypi getting pet. Ooh, let's see what that fucking gets you. Definitely don't put platypuses getting pet. Because that'll get you a whole fucking OnlyFans.
Oh, getting a belly rub, you
There
nasty
you go.
bitch.
There you go.
All right, let's see.
Do it. It's me. Amazing.
Oh, that's a meerkat.
Fuck the meerkat.
Platypus gets a belly rub. Oh my God, look at it.
Like so happy. Right?
He's all,
He's all, woohoo!
He is-
Woohoo! Yeah.
dude, that's hilarious. He's all,
Yeah, that's exactly what I love them. They're so cute.
that was something.
Yeah. But they're also having a hard time staying alive because we are over foraging. And so they're getting lower in numbers. So keep the platypi alive. Hashtag platypi.
Pandemonium.
Pandemonium, baby. Yes.
Platypi are weird.
No.
I just saw it and it's a
They're
weird
so
little
cute.
thing.
Well, they're
They're
duck-billed.
confused.
They're all the pieces that God just had left over. And so am I. Like, I imagine he was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Throw that in there and some of these.
And some trauma.
Yeah, and some fucking shit ton extra trauma for that one.
It's like maybe the trauma will hold it together.
Yeah, it'll be like glue for this one. There you go. See what happens. And I'm all fucked up. And then I have the little fucking claw of death. Yeah.
But that would make you a male.
Yeah, maybe my next life. Because I just feel like it's also a little...
No, there's zero chance you make it as a male. Men do a lot more manual labor than you do.
Oh, I'm fucked. Yeah, I'm not going to. Don't sign me up for that. Yeah, no, I definitely would never make it as a dude. There's so many reasons. That's just the very bottom reason.
Right. That's like...
Bare minimum, not going to do that.
Number
Also, I would
100.
not put up with ladies bullshit. That's a lot of work.
True.
Yeah, I was just having that conversation with another client. I was like, dating right now, as like, I sometimes feel like the last Vietnam vet who got the last helicopter out.
Same.
And like, you look at all the dating and I'm like, no, abso-fucking-lutely not. This is why the Golden Girls were the Golden Girls. Because fuck that. So, anyways, Pandemonium for you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the Pandemonium.
You're welcome.
So we've really covered a lot of ground today.
I know we started out in space.
Yeah, we started in space.
All the
A
way.
little bit of Katy Perry with some singing. Astronauts, rape, domestic violence, body acceptance, Pandemonium.
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 Yeah.
There it
That's
is.
a good way to end it.
That's good.
Yeah, that was nice.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Boom. Bye, guys.
All right.
Still don't have a close. Love you.